Welcome to Ælementz, your daily source of insights across finance, science, and beyond. Whether you're traveling, taking a lunchtime stroll, or simply relaxing at home, we're committed to providing new content every day, so join us to grow and learn while living your busy life. Imagine a crisp, moonlit night off the English coast in the year 793 AD. Out of the shadows comes a fleet of sleek wooden ships, their dragon-headed prows slicing through the waves. On board are the fierce, mysterious warriors known as Vikings. They land at Lindisfarne, and in a shocking raid they forever change history. But here's a twist. These barbarians weren't just raiders. They were skilled traders, explorers, and settlers who shaped much of Europe and beyond. Who were the Vikings, really? The word Viking often conjures images of wild axe-wielding marauders in horned helmets. But let's set the record straight. Those helmets, pure myth thanks to 19th century artists. Vikings, hailing from Scandinavia, modern-day Norway, Sweden and Denmark, were more than warriors. They were sailors, farmers, craftsmen and storytellers who lived from the late 8th to early 11th centuries. In short, they were people of extraordinary ambition and adaptability. How did the Viking Age unfold? The Viking Age began with the raid on Lindisfarne in 793 AD, a moment so shocking it's often called the beginning of the Viking era. But their story isn't just one of plunder. They ventured far beyond Europe, sailing to Iceland, Greenland, and even North America. Yes, the Vikings reached North America centuries before Columbus. They called it Vinland, a land of wild grapes and untamed forests. Back home, they developed thriving settlements, some of which became the foundations of cities like Dublin and York. Vikings were not just seafarers, they were innovators. Their longships, designed with shallow drafts, allowed them to navigate oceans, rivers, and even shallow creeks. Imagine them gliding silently into a village at dawn, their sails furled, their oars cutting like knives through misty waters. Did you know Vikings weren't always fierce? Picture a Viking farmer tilling his field. He's more interested in his crops than in raiding. Vikings were primarily farmers and herders. Many even preferred trading to fighting. What's more, Viking women enjoyed surprising rights for their time. They could inherit property, divorce, and even lead expeditions. Think of Gudrid Thorbjarnardóttir, who voyaged to Vinland and became one of the earliest known Europeans to set foot in North America. Here's another surprising fact. The Vikings were meticulous groomers. Archaeological finds include combs, tweezers, and even ear cleaners. Their emphasis on cleanliness astonished their contemporaries, who described them as unusually polished for the era. Why were the Vikings so feared? It's easy to imagine the question whispered by medieval villagers. Why are they so ruthless? The Vikings' reputation for brutality came partly from their strategy. They struck without warning, targeting monasteries rich in treasure but poorly defended. Yet, they weren't mindless brutes. Their raids were calculated, their leadership sophisticated. Viking chiefs were elected, not born into power, and their forces were organized into effective units. What can we thank the Vikings for today? Surprisingly, the Vikings have left a lasting legacy in our daily lives. Words like Thursday and berserk, meaning bare-shirted warrior, come from Old Norse. The concept of trial by jury, that also has roots in Viking governance. Their influence goes beyond language. Modern navigation owes much to the Vikings' mastery of seafaring. They used tools like sunstones to navigate cloudy skies, centuries ahead of their time, and their belief in democratic decision-making resonates in today's principles of leadership and fairness. 2 secrets to remember the Vikings by. Vikings loved storytelling. They preserved their myths and history through epic sagas, which became some of the richest sources of Norse culture. Second, their funerals were anything but ordinary. Important Vikings were buried with lavish possessions, from weapons to entire ships, to accompany them to Valhalla, their version of paradise. Did you learn something new about the Vikings today? Perhaps you're wondering, which Viking saga would you most want to hear in full? Or what was life like for a Viking child? Leave us a comment or share your thoughts. We'd love to hear them. Thanks for being here. If you found this helpful, consider subscribing on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. A new episode is coming tomorrow. Don't miss out.